Welcome back to another episode of ShredMentor Live. I'm your host, Jason Aaron Wood, and tonight we're going to be exploring one of the most important pieces of vocabulary in metal, which is the diminished seventh, of course. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how this works, not just in a purely sort of dissonant kind of way, because by itself, the diminished seventh, by itself, it's inherently dissonant. But one of the things I want to call your attention to, in case you don't want that to be the way that you use it, it also resolves very nicely to the harmonic minor scale. So let me show you a little bit about that. The harmonic minor scale actually contains an interval pattern that makes this up. Okay, so let's go on over here to the control panel so I can see my friends in chat. Please let me know in the chat that you can hear me, because that would be an awful shame if you can't, because we are studying sound. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the harmonic minor scale and first the diminished seventh, since that is the main topic tonight. I've got this little graphic from a couple weeks ago here, but everything is a minor third apart. So no matter where you start, everything else. So all of these different notes, I'll show you this a few times because it goes by kind of fast, okay? But the 1, the flat 3, the flat 5, and the double flat 7, they all just basically, they're all 3 half steps apart. And this is what it looks like on one screen. So let's take a look at that one more time there. Well, several more times if you need to. Okay, so there it is. There's the diminished seventh itself. Now, here it is with harmonic minor. 2, 4, 6, and 7 actually are that far apart. So you could basically start a diminished seventh from any one of those 4 notes, from note 2, 4, 6, and 7. So again, let's pretend that that's A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. That's the A harmonic minor scale. One more time there, right? So that 1 could be a B, right? So there could be a B, or it could be a D, or it could be an F, or it could be the G sharp, the raised 7. So what's great is, like, no matter what, there's my A, there's my 2, 4, 6, 7, right? 2, 3, 4. I can start from D and be my 4, 6, 7, and 2 again in the next octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can start from the F, the 6th of the scale, the 6th, the raised 7, the 2, and the 4. And then one more option, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, raised 7 of harmonic minor, the 7, the 2, the 4, and the 6. So if you weren't ready for music theory, boy, here it is. We're doing it anyway, diving right in. But no, seriously, that's kind of all it is. All right, I know that might seem really overwhelming to have it all thrown in your face real quick like that, but it's just 4 notes out of 7. And it's mostly every other note. 6 and 7 are technically what you would actually call a sharp second. Not to be confused with a major second, which is another name for a whole step, or a minor second, which is another name for a half step. But a sharp second is basically, or an augmented second is another name for that. That would be actually a step and a half, but where the notes are immediate neighbors of each other in a diatonic scale. So it's just naming conventions, but it's 3 half steps apart, and that's our more important function here. Okay, we just kind of have to watch out for that when you want to start adding in other notes, which will come up a little bit later. Okay, now if you're finding out about this show from the emails that I sent out, then I mentioned earlier that this is a very versatile pattern, and because of the fact that just everything is just 3 half steps apart, these notes are just all over the place. So what's kind of cool here is, though, that it gives us a lot of different ways to approach making this sound and incorporating it into different kinds of playing, riffing, soloing, those two, you know, so, but different approaches to those types of things. So we're not just riffing in one way or another. It definitely lends itself very much to metal. You know, I'm not going to pretend this is just for your standard rock player, but if you want to do anything even vaguely neoclassical, you must also need to know this. You're going to need to know this too. So you have to know how to get this sound, and that's why I'm going to kind of resolve it to notes in harmonic minor for pretty much all of these, even though I'll show you some cool chromatic types of stuff if you just want to get more of that dizzying kind of dark and almost melodic, but just kind of crazy sounding, you know, the appeal, the necrophagist appeal. And I say that band name that way because that's how the leader, Muhammad, said it, the band Necrophagist. So that's not how I would have originally pronounced it, but that doesn't matter because I will generally always go by how the band members themselves say it. Okay, so let's get into the very first thing. I'm in standard for once, but I am playing a 7-string today, and I'm going to use the 7th string because I have it. I feel like this is the version of the guitar that's really complete. 6 is cool, you can do a lot on it, but 7 is cooler and you can do more. So I'm gonna be using that. Now, I'll start with the 6th string for some stuff, though, okay? So I think it might be actually a good idea, despite some of the things that I've done leading up to this. Maybe I should do some of this stuff in A minor, just to kind of keep it alphabetically convenient. Okay, so let's deal with the 2-note per string version of this first. I think this is a good place to start for anybody. This is the version of it I kind of discovered on my own too, without even knowing what this was called. I just happened to know, hey, you know what, notes 2, 4, 6, and 7 are harmonic minor, all line up this way. It's all 3 frets apart from each other, or 3 half steps apart. So, because it's not 3 frets if you're moving from another string to another string, right? So, anyway, 2 notes per string. What's really cool about this, okay? It's note 2, 4, 6, and 7. Let's look at note 6. I'm going to pull up that graphic one more time. And when harmonic minor comes up, I want you to look at note 6 and where note 5 is in relation to it, okay? Here it goes. Get ready. Here you go. And here you go, for real, okay? Notice the diminished 7th. Wait for harmonic minor. Now, 6 and 5 are a half step apart from each other. This is really cool. Let's pretend that note number 5 is my open low E, okay? So that's where it's going to come in handy right here, because I'm going to just start a half step higher. All right, and this is actually really important for resolving to the Phrygian minor kind of sound, kind of almost a exotic Middle Eastern kind of sound to it. But that's where you get that kind of nice kind of quality to it. So that note 5, though, is not actually part of the diminished 7. This is just where I said I'm going to be resolving back to a harmonic minor mode. Okay, this is mode 5 of harmonic minor. Okay, very important to know about, you know, modes, because that's the 7 different colors in your key. Okay, so in harmonic minor, there's kind of primarily 2 main modes, though, which is the root, which is sort of equivalent to Aeolian, but it's Aeolian sharp 7, because again, we're taking Aeolian, which is minor, raising the 7th, and that's how we get that harmonic minor flavor. But then if we go to whatever the 5th note of that scale is and treat that like the root note, that's where we get this very ominous. That's the Phrygian dominant sound in a nutshell, harmony-wise. I'm doing my own groove thing with it here. Matthew, thank you, man. I'm sorry I asked I asked you. You were right on top of that, and I'm like off on my own thing here. Welcome, man. Good to see you, dude. Okay, so the E is sort of home base for that Phrygian dominant sound. That's where the 5, again, A, B, C, D, E. E is the 5th note of the scale, so that's sort of where that Phrygian dominant root note sound sort of lives. That's home base for that sound. Okay, so I'm going to play off of the next half step up from it, and that's how we do. Right? So I can get that really kind of cool sound, and it feels resolved, but without actually having to go back to A for everything to resolve everything there. It's a different sound to how it resolves. Okay, so that's going to be important for what we want to do with a lot of these things. All right, so this is basically it. Just what's nice about it. So only, again, I said it's notes 2, 4, 6, and 7 from the scale. I happen to be at 6 and 7 right now. That's your 6, that's your 7, that's your B, so that's your 2 again. That's the 4. Next is 6, so I'm just repeating it in octaves every other string. 6, 7, 2, 4. 6, 7, 2, 4. I've got to jump an extra fret up here, but 6, 7, 2, 4. All right, so as you look at me on the fretboard here, I'm at fret 1. Just follow my first finger. 1. Go up 3 frets. Go up another fret here. Start the next string. 2, 3, 4. It would be 5, but the tuning between the second and third strings makes us have to move up a fret. So 6, and then 7. If you have a 7th string, you can go 0, 3. 1, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Just always finish off after that. Follow every note with the note 3 frets higher on each string, so you get that nice 2 note per string pattern. Oops. All right, so that's a really fun one. I like to start with like the E sometimes, the open E, and then I'll add maybe like 6 notes above that, so it's like a 7 note up and down kind of loop. So I can do like a triplet thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what's cool is you can do it every 3 frets. So and just use your open E. What's nice about playing off of open strings is that you can kind of get away with doing this. So this is why it's such a versatile thing. Is just do exactly the same thing every 3 frets, and it still has essentially the same vibe, but you can get different melodic qualities out of it by, you know, getting higher and lower in the melody. All right, so and they're all compatible with each other. And if you wanted to take, let's say, take this into the recording realm and actually write a cool riff that features this on guitar 1, you might go, right? And on guitar 2, you just start at the 4th fret instead of the 1st fret. Just do everything 3 frets higher and go, right? And you get this cool thing that on the E note, it's perfect unison. It sounds like one guitar, but it just splits off into harmony. It doesn't get any thicker or thinner. It just suddenly goes from unison to that. So you might also want to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get a little bit more of that unison time. All right, that's guitar 1, guitar 2. It's a great effect. It's been used for decades already, but it's a great way to do this in metal. So if you want to know how to get that sound, that's a great way to do it. Just two guitar parts that are essentially the same until they're not, and they're perfectly lined up rhythmically, and they're perfectly thought out harmonically. And this is what's also really nice about diminished sevenths, is you don't have to think that hard about it. Unlike a lot of things in harmony, this one's a perfectly sort of symmetrical. It's atonal-ish, right? But we're making it tonal by resolving it somewhere. But it's essentially a dissonant, symmetrical, that is, same interval over and over kind of pattern. So you don't have to think nearly as hard about it. You just have to take whatever the pattern is, learn that, and then you can move it every 3 frets in either direction. So it's really, really easy to use. And it sounds kick-ass. Objectively, not just my opinion. All right, anyway. So that's what's really kind of fun. I'm going to show you some fun things with this one, too, before we move on, because I think there's a lot that can be done with the 2-note per string version here. So I'll show you. I actually did this in one of the 201 Challenge of the Day videos back in 2018, but I don't remember which one, because I don't know. That's a lot. It's a lot of lessons, man. Which you can, by the way, you can access all of them on ShredMentorOnline.com, or just go through GuitarPracticeTools.com. Get yourself 30 days free of that. Start watching all those. It'll take you more than 30 days to do them all, but hey, you know. Anyway, yeah. So here's the basic idea, right? You just I'm just going to start at 1. Forget the open string for now, okay? And here's what's really cool about this, okay? We're going to do it in 3-string grouping, so it'll be 6 notes per diminished 7 iteration, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go back to the string I started on, 6th string again. 4, 5, 6. Now I'll go after I do it 3 times. Every time I'm just going to keep going up 1 fret no matter what. But it'll be string 6, 5, 4, 6, 5, 4. No matter what, keep going up. So fret numbers only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Easy to keep track of, right? Right. Very cool. Now, what's also kind of cool, another variation on that, and I encourage you to play these. You know, it doesn't matter if you are playing them as fast or as clean as me right now, or doing even better than me. It doesn't matter. Get your fingers used to these movements, because this is really pretty helpful all around. So I just want you to be at least a little familiar, having played this once or twice, okay? So we have that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on, okay? Once you get to 13, you're an octave above where you started, so you can keep going until you run out of frets or not. It's up to you. Now I'm going to show you a slight variation on that one, okay? Instead of doing it 6 notes at a time by using 3 strings each, okay? Same number of notes per string will give us multiples of 2. So I'm getting a quick 6 by just going for 3 strings. So if I wanted 4, okay, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, go all the way to the 3rd string, then stay at that fret, start at the 6th string again. Okay. All right, so that's and I'm just going back to the E up here at the 14th fret of the D string. Now, another way that I typically do that is still in 6s, okay? Same frets, except I'm going to get a longer phrase out of it. I'm going to do the 1, 2, 3 from the first example. I'm going to go back a string, 2, 3, 4. So that way I'm sort of overlapping these patterns here. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Then go to the 6th string at the same fret. So that's a lot of fun. So, well, you know, it's a versatile thing, like I said, but a lot of anything's versatile once you try different rhythmic patterns with it and try breaking it up into different rhythmic lengths. All right, so that's probably, oh, no, it's not. I forgot. We need to do some sequences. Got to do it every show. But yeah, we're going to actually do some sequences using this now. Okay, and actually the one I'm going to show you first is just the sequence of 3s. I'm going to start up high. Oh, no, forget it. I'll start at the same place. 1, 2, 3, go back a note. 2, 3, 4, go back a note. 3, 4, 5, go back a note. 4, 5, 6. So $1,100 years says sweet. I say, hey man, thanks, appreciate it, welcome. All right, so that's a fun one. And actually, I mean, if you've ever done any other 2-note per string type of thing, like a minor pentatonic, then you already have some amount of motor memory already built up for this one. So just because it's a diagonal pattern and you have to keep changing what fret you're on, you want to start a little higher up, because if you start like, you know, like, oh crap, out of frets, right? So you run it, you see where, you know, so maybe starting at the bottom gives you an idea about how high you need to be to start on the fretboard. How high on the fretboard, not how high you need to be. You know what? So if I want to start on my open 7th string, and I have to resolve that. By the way, that resolving to Phrygian dominant, that E, it's actually an E major chord if you're just going to simplify it to a triad. It's an E Phrygian dominant, so on top of the major 1, 3, 5, it's actually a flat 7. So that's what a dominant basically is. A dominant 7 is basically a major chord, a root, a major 3rd, and a 5th, but then another note on 2 notes higher is actually the flat 7. This actually occurs naturally on the 5th of the major scale anyway. But by raising the 7th note of minor, we also get one on the 5th of this scale too. So I'm just going to hurl random theory and just assume you understand it. That's what the chat is for. If you don't, I'm very happy to go into any amount of detail on this, because my goal is for you to understand and not just like watch. So please have a guitar in your hand for this, and just try the things I'm doing just a little bit just to get it familiar to your fingers, because you might like these things. You might be like, yeah, I'm going to use that shit. And I hope you do, because it's awesome. It's a great sound. We need more of it. There's a lot of it already, but we need even more of it. All right, so The next and final sequence that we're going to go into is something I actually used. I'm just going to plug my music here, but in 2017, I put out an album called, what the hell was that called? What was my album called? Oh yeah, Emanations. And in the opening, so the title track and the opening track, there's a melody that actually uses this. It's it was not written for the guitar, so it's a pain in the ass. Let's see if I can actually play it. Nope. Now right here, that. So that's kind of the ending part of that. So actually, it kind of. How the hell's it go? Something like that. Yeah. Fun song. That's actually one of my favorite songs that I actually ever wrote. But you know, check that out a little later on jasonaaronwood.bandcamp.com. But anyway, that's it. So you can just kind of do that. I'll go back to A minor for this. That was actually B flat minor, so a half step higher actually. So this will be the, yeah. So it's kind of good, by the way, in order to be able to start this from the 4 notes, the 2, the 4, the 6, or the 7 of the scale, that you kind of get in the habit of counting through little fragments of your scale. Find yourself a root note, A, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What under my fingers is in this 2, 4, 6, 7 pattern? Say 1, 2, there's 2, that one's in there. 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2, 4, 6. So it's only 3. I don't have all 4 notes, but at least it gives me an idea. If I have a shape, you know, I can just. So anyway, going back to that sequence, I can just, in order to do this, it's also based on the 2-note per string thing. What you basically do, it's a 2, 3, 2, 1 sequence. All right, that is out of 2, 3 being the highest number in the sequence. It involves 3 notes. Okay, that's what it tells you there. 2 is the middle note out of the 3, so you're going to actually start in the middle note, which is in this case the lower note of the high string. Hammer on, 2, 3, 2, 1. All right. So the lowest note out of the 3 is actually going to be that. And we're just going to kind of do that. I use my pinky though, because I'm kind of my fingers are sort of closer together, then they're further apart, then they're close together, then they're further apart, and I'm constantly sort of walking across the fretboard 1 finger at a time. True finger independence is going to be more like that, rather than picking your hand up as a block and moving it as one solid object. Finger independence means the fingers need to be where they need to be from one moment to the next, which means it's not going to just be so simple that you pick your hand up and move it somewhere else. So get used to contracting your hand. All right. So ultimately, this one is 2, 3, 2, 1. Go down to the lower note of that string to hammer on, pull off, pick. So it's basically 2 pick strokes. In a sense, it's almost alternate picking. Pick, down, hammer on, pull off, up. Then we have down, hammer on, pull off, up. Down, hammer on, pull off, up. So alternate picking with a couple of notes in between. Hey John, welcome man. Loving the patterns. I just picked up a few new things to work on with too. Oh, hell yeah, man. Good. So this is I love this one too because it's so easy to be speedy with it. So John, I know you in particular can definitely do this one. I'd like to see how fast you get with that one. Oops. If you have more strings, just keep going and get until you run out of frets, you know, or strings, or both. I was playing my 10-string all day yesterday and today, and I think the day before too. And man, I love that. I think I'm going to do an album with that thing, like real soon. Just pure 10-string, not even a bass guitar, because who the hell needs that? I have a damn 10-string. But anyway, yeah, you can just keep going and going if you have more string. Then I'm over here because I'm looking at my 10-string because it's just sexy. It's a wonderful guitar. Okay. I'll lay off now. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do on the 2 notes per string, but anything that kind of works you know, with 2 notes per string, you can do it with this. That's what I love about sequences, is that you're not locked into any particular type of scale or interval pattern. It just needs to be the same number of notes per string. That's what makes it compatible with any technique that you've already, technique-wise, that's what makes you able to use the same technique to play that as anything else. So try other things that you've done with minor pentatonic scales with 2 notes per string with your 2 note per string diminished seventh. And there's 25 minutes on just the first thing on my list. Better hurry up. Here we go. Okay, next, 2 notes, then 1. All right, so it's like a note layout kind of thing. 2 notes on 1 string, then 1. We're going to alternate, okay? I'm going to start a little higher up. I'll start on the B of the 6th string, okay? And it's going to be the same idea, but we're going to kind of shift down the fretboard instead. Which note we use on the string that has 1 note, or sorry, which finger we use on the string that has 1 note is going to vary a little bit, okay? So starting on B of the 7th fret of the 6th string, we'll do automatically a minor 3rd. Then 8 on the next string. So if I wanted to sweep this, or, you know, take lazy, whatever, however you think of it, down, hammer on, down, and now down. Oh, where the hell am I? Sorry. So it's basically the same shape 3 times in a row. Lowest 2 strings, assuming you only have 6 strings, which most of you will, 7, 10, 8. Then after that, just do it a fret lower on the next 2 strings. So 6, 9, 7, 6, 9, 7. If you want to turn around, you can slide up 3 frets and not really personally very adept at doing this one. I just thought of it real quick before this show. It is one that I know you could do, but you know, it could have its use. It also kind of features something that I typically do when I want to turn around before I've used up all my strings. So basically just take 1 string and just throw 1 extra note on it so I don't have to have a repeat note. All right, so anyway, that's it. 2 notes, then 1. That's another way to do it. Next, see, moving along now. 3 notes per string. Okay, this is very Sean Lane inspired. In fact, that's exactly where I got it from. May he rest in peace. Amazing guitarist, one of the best ever. Okay, so let's see, that would be an A. Let's put it to a B. Okay, let's try to keep everything in A minor today, just so you can find your way around alphabetically. Excuse me. You might also want to try this stuff in E minor, since it's sort of the guitar key, or whatever equivalent of E minor if you tune your guitar down or up or whatever, wherever E minor would normally be located. Also, don't forget, try random weird-ass keys that are not friendly to the hand or the eyes also, because those are going to make you really independent on the fretboard too. So purposely do something like B flat minor. Actually, any key that's about 1/2 step in either direction from a really fretboard-friendly key, great stuff, because it really makes you have to be fully mobile, no relying on open strings, no relying on familiar frets where you like to play octaves of open strings, so like the 6th fret and the 8th fret, those unfriendly places. Try this stuff there too, where the root note is there. Okay, so yeah, 3 notes per string. I'll start with B. This is going to be a little more in the stretchy area, folks, but anyway, every 3 frets, okay, middle note, very important, use your middle finger. If you were just playing this without another note, you could use your ring finger. Your pinky doesn't like that. Don't put the stress of playing a minor 3rd on this finger combination, because that's just not very efficient use of your hand. It's much more efficient use of your hand to do that and use these 2 fingers to stretch like this, not like this. The hand is built to go like that. So use that as your stretch, not this, that. Because look what the thumb does, straight up the back. All right? Very important. So I like doing this like real life example stuff. Anyway, here's the idea. Anyway, this brings me to the part of the show where I complain about Strat bodies. I love this guitar, don't get me wrong. It's beautiful, it plays wonderful. I would say that I love everything about it except one thing. This friggin' point. And it's not unique to this, it's every Strat. When I first started playing, and for at least the first half of my, 30, Jesus Christ, 30, going on 31 years of playing now, it didn't really bother me. I didn't do crazy stretches like this, but now I want to do them on the low strings, and my damn point won't let me. So anyway, I'm done ranting now, but that's something that you might run into, and this is where I've really started to enjoy my Les Paul, and I guess, yeah, my beautiful 10-string, because it's only got a little point that goes out to here, and it's not in the way at all. So I'm really liking guitars that don't have a big-ass point in the way, because I don't like obstacles built into this. Now that said, okay, you can, if it's in your way, or you can still do this stuff pretty easily. I mean, as easily as it's going to get. Higher up the fretboard, of course. On the higher strings, it's not going to be a problem. As you start to reach for the lower strings, your wrist and the back of your hand will start to collide with the back of the point. Sucks. Sorry. Anyway, this is really fun though, and it kind of bleeds into one of the next version of this. There's 3 notes per string. That's basically what it looks like. It's quite a stretch. It bleeds into it because there's a string skip in the way that Sean Lane described this. He has a video of something like how to get an outside sound. That's what this is. I'm going to start with my F here. Here's the B if you don't have a 7-string. I'm doing a new sequence called, well, different sequence, not new, the sequence of 6s. So normally I would do this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just basically reuse the 3 notes of the string I'm on as the 1, 2, and 3 of the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 4, 5, 6 becomes the new 1, 2, 3. So I get. Right? That's how it's useful. So again, because it's 3 notes per string, it doesn't really matter where the notes are or how far apart they are from each other, because as long as I have 3 notes per string, I can use the exact same picking technique, and I just have to spread my fingers out a little bit more. So now when you get to the 3rd string, just forget about the 2nd string altogether. Stay at the same fret. You get this nice long 6-note linear pattern without the repeat note that otherwise happens on every string. So here we have D, D, F, F again, F, G sharp, B, B again, right? So every time we do that, except for when we do that string skip, we actually get a repeat note. So that's a nice area. And that is why the next thing on my list is just purely the string skipping. This is a great way to get started. I like to start at 12. But that's not in our key, so I'll start at 13. Now what's kind of cool here is the 3rd string and 1st string are going to be at the same fret as each other. And the 2nd and 4th string also, but they'll be 1 fret lower than that. So, all right, so I'm going out of tune here. Yes, it sounded like it. Again, if you want to jump another string, you have to go up a fret. That's where you start colliding into a little bastard point here. But otherwise, you can do it. Now, what's cool about this is you can get around it. And that's where tapping comes in, okay? So you can just go back to the 2 note per string version of this with string skipping, but just tap the higher note, and you don't have to worry about that. So 13, right? So two things to keep. I usually keep track of my first finger on this hand and the tapping finger on the other hand. So it's a lot to keep track of it all at once, but you get used to it. But 19 for the tap, 19 for the tap, and then it's actually going to be 20 for the tap on the A string. And then if I want to go again, it'll actually be 21. So same fret, same fret. So same fret between those, upper fret, upper fret. That's how the upper fret is actually normally what would actually happen if you were tuned to all fourths. So only thanks to the second and third string not being tuned the same way as all the other strings do we actually get that nice pattern. But anyway, you can get the same exact thing. Oops. And I can just show off my weakness in the area of hammer-ons from nowhere on the way back up. Anyway, so it's easy to forget about that. But yeah. All right, so anyway, that's another way you could kind of do that. Now, of course, you can also take your 3-note per string thing here and tap additional to that too. So I'm just going to stick with the two highest strings, and I'm going to use a sequence that I call the zigzag. That's because the notes themselves just sort of, if you wrote it out in notation, they would just go up and down and up. Okay, so I'm going to show you a specific way to sort of omit the tap note as a repeat note, though, because you're going to have it. So I'll start at 13 again. You need 22 frets for this, so if you don't have it, let's just move it down, okay, as much as you have to. But my tap note will now be 22. And then it'll still be the same 3 that I was fretting before. Now, if I tap 22 on this string, I'm using tapping and legato, so it's going to be very hard to hear the transition between those two notes being the same. So I usually just omit the tap on the way down and just go straight to the fretting hand note, that is. Now I come back up, tap, then go back down, and now I come back up without the tap and start ascending the other string. So if we actually, let's start it from the 13th fret as the beginning. Go up, tap, back down, don't tap on the next string, just go straight to the pinky. Tap, back down, and then go without the tap up. That's the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. It's a multiple of 3. It would be triplets for 6 beats. So let's look at how we might use that then. 1, 3, no, 2. We remember how to count to 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I can do it on the second and fourth string too. So I do better when my hands are just doing it for me. Anyway, yeah, very expandable. As I said, these are very versatile patterns because it's just every 3 frets no matter what you do. So if you can figure out a way to fit another note in there, you can do yet another thing. But that's sort of, I think I got the hammer-on without the tap thing from a Greg Howe video. God, I don't remember what it is. He had some kind of thing where it was like, so... Yeah. So without the tap, sort of a sequence of 3, but I forget how you did it. Anyway, yeah, it's like 2 taps, and then you go into the next string, then you start tapping on that string. So it's kind of the same idea. It's just a method I figured out from him. I adapted from what I learned with that, but that's essentially the sequence he was doing. I forget where he did it, but anyway, yeah, that's a nice way. As you're going to another string, omit the tap, especially if it's a repeat note, and then so you can get the. All right, so I think that's everything I'm going to do with the 3 notes per string and the string skipping kind of thing. But yeah, you could. No, it's not. I'm going to do one more thing with that. Just to illustrate it, the 2 note per string kind of thing with tapping. You can do the same kind of thing. The phrase won't be as long because you're not using as many notes per string. But let's start from 13 and just tap here. 1. I'll start at 13 again, ascending first. 4, 5. I will tap 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm tapping because this note is a different note. So I only avoid the tap to avoid a repeat note in legato. That's the only. If it was picking it, I would just play the repeat note. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Ah, crap, 38. Yeah, it's a multiple of 2. It's like 19. What are we going to be, 19, 8? Okay, well, I like to see what the note. So I know that was probably tedious watching me count every note, but I recommend you do that all the time, by the way, because you only have to do it once. Unless you lose count, then you got to start over. But you only have to do it successfully one time, and then you kind of can figure out, okay, 38. What can I do with that? All right, well, 38 by itself, that's truly how long it would be. But what if I shave a note off of that? It's 37, which is actually 36 plus 1, which is like doing it. Well, let's see, that's 12 sets of triplets plus a final note. That can be handy. So. Yeah. Oh, so that was it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Look for a nearby A or an E. That's the trick there with harmonic minor. Find your 5th or find your root. That's the nearest one you can get to. All right, so. Yeah, something like that. So after you descend back from the tap, come up one more note. There you go. See, problem solving in real time. My mistakes might help you avoid the same mistakes. So otherwise, you just make them yourself. But anyway, that's kind of what it looks like when I work through patterns. Let's do some sweep picking. We've got 17 minutes left. There, I rushed through a little bit of that list. Not bad. Covered some ground here. Okay, first, sweeps. Small sweeps, as I call them, things that take place on 3 strings and involve 4 notes. So 1, 1, and 2 is the note layout. Okay, so let's go with F. Let's hang out in that lucky 13th fret there. Okay, this is the Yngwie Malmsteen fingering for this. I like to use all 4 fingers. I used to beat the crap out of my pinky trying to make it work overtime. But I don't do that anymore because the poor, sad little pinky is just short and stunted, and it's not nice to force that to do that. What I do instead is I stretch a little further with my second and third finger, like Yngwie Malmsteen does. That way every finger has its home, and then you just upstroke, pull off, up, down, down, down. And that's how he gets his right? Something like that, right? That's how that's done. That's all it is. It's just a 4-finger thing, and just like everything else with the diminished seventh, just move it every 3 frets. It's a little easier, I think, to do it on the first, second, and third string than it is to do it on the second, third, and fourth, because the fingering is a little different. Mainly it's because your second and fourth finger have to stretch a little further. So let's look at that, what that looks like, all right? Up here, 13, 10, 12, 13. Move it down, follow the 2-note per string thing, and just, there'll be 12 and 9, right? Here, it's very friendly to the hand right here. But then either the pinky has to work overtime, as I already said I didn't want to do. It's not, I suppose I'm probably playing it just as fast as I just did. It's just a lot more work, a lot more movement. I like things to be as easy as possible, and that's just significantly less easy. So here's a nice way around this, and it's not really a diminished seventh until you play it in more than one place. This is actually a diminished triad, and that would be, okay, normally if you do that on the first 3 strings, that would actually be major. All right, so if you already know that major shape on your first 3 strings, do it on the second 3, and it's actually a diminished triad. This is the flat 5, the minor third, the root, and then the flat 5 in the bass again. Of the arpeggio, that is. So it's like I'm going back and forth between them. I would recommend doing that just so you can kind of like get ready for this finger combination. Now get ready for this finger combination. And that's sort of what I'm doing. Is I'm like, okay, because I don't know if you caught that like less graceful move back and forth at first. I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa, okay. I wasn't ready to switch back to those fingers. I was ready for it in one direction, but going back, I was like, brain fart. So anyway, I want you to see what this might be like, what that experience might be like when you do it too. All right, so that's the nice Yngwie Malmsteen style kind of thing for diminished sevenths. What's kind of cool too, and I've done everything harmonic minor, but let's just talk about the more dissonant kind of fun thing. Using like just almost a chromatic or a diminished scale, which is alternating half steps and whole steps, can actually work really nice. So I'll start in the same kind of area here. So here's the thing, I can basically just move. I'll start up here at 13. I'll just do pure chromatic movements first. All right, so a little overly predictable. But here's a fun way to sort of break that up. And what you basically do is, I'm going to start, I'm going to start at the 2nd fret this time, okay? Since it's all chromatic, doesn't matter. I just need 1 fret to move down to, okay? So it's going to essentially be descending, but not really, because it's going to ascend more than it descends, but the pattern itself is going to have a constant sound of moving down chromatically, although it's going to go higher and higher. And I'll show you how we do this, okay? And surprise, we're going to move up 3 frets after we move down. So that way, we're sort of at the same one. All right. In fact, not here. Let's see. Yeah. Start at the 2nd fret. Oh, 5th fret, but yeah, 2nd position. I'll just play it twice each at each position. All right. Now I'm going to move down a half step. So that's me moving down chromatically. Now I'm just going to move up 3 frets and play it here. I'm essentially still in the same one. Now I'll move down a half step. Now up 3 frets, same diminished 7 still. So anytime I move up or down 3 half steps, I'm actually still in the same arpeggio. When I move down a half step, now I'm in a new arpeggio. So then when I move 3 frets up again, I'm still in the same one. So let's say I only do the first one twice. Now I'm in this one with F in it, All right, so let's look at it this way. There's one with F sharp in it. There's one with F in it. And there's one with E in it. The one with E in it is also the one with G in it, by the way. So below that is the one with F sharp in it again. So there's only 3 diminished sevenths, period. Okay, hopefully that just kind of gave you some food for thought. They all happen in different keys, but that's it. There's one with E, there's one with F, and the one with F sharp. The one with G is the one with E. The one with G sharp is the one with F. The one with A is the one with F sharp. So again, it's just they just repeat. There's only 3 diminished sevenths. They're all inversions of each other otherwise. And that's sort of what we're doing here, so inversions. So I'll do 2 of the one with F sharp in the same place. Now I'll move down to the one with F and do it in one location, then the next location. Now down 1/2 step to the one with E in it. There's the E. E. Now the one with F sharp in it. F sharp. There's my F sharp. Now the one with F in it. There's the F. There's the F. All right, so anyway, all together. Anyway, yeah, you can just keep going all over the place with it. It's a little more fun, nice way to break out of things. Being purely purely harmonic minor all the time, but you know, it's fun. Let's see if I can play with my glasses off because they're getting on my nerves. All right. All right, yeah, so, see, this is where the problem is. My notes, which are right next to the camera. Can't see shit. All right, so there is our 3 notes, sorry, our small sweeps. 4 notes, but 1 note, and 2 notes as far as the notes being laid out that way. I'm going to do a slight variation on this, and you might have found this one before yourself too. It's very similar, same idea, but it's actually 1 extra note. So it's actually 2 notes, 1 note, and 2 notes, okay? It's actually very sweep friendly. You just basically, either your hammer on or your pull off, you just sort of wait with your pick stroke and then just continue the pick stroke. So down, hammer on, down, down, turn around, up, pull off, up, up. Because it has an extra note, it has a different rhythmic feel. All the ones that I just did with that Yngwie style sweep were very triplet. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's actually more 16th note kind of friendly. So yeah, bring it back to that harmonic minor kind of sound. Okay, so yeah, that's fun, you know. And I guess you can actually kind of almost do the same thing. So the ring finger plays the middle note here. I'll use G sharp and B as my 2 notes on the first string. Start on B. The ring finger will play 6. So it's sort of this weird Z pattern, but it kind of goes up higher in the middle. So 7, 4, 6, 7, 4. So since 6 is the note here, let's move it down a fret on the second string here. 6, 3, and here it'll be 4. So the middle finger will play it on the next 2 strings. Good to use, you know, both finger combinations. That's why I like to always go out of my way to use the pattern where that finger combination would be called for anyway, rather than just do purely chromatic stuff all the time. Just, you know, pack a little bit of fretboard and theory knowledge into your regular technique stuff and think about solving the problem of, where might I need this finger combination? So that way it's more meaningful finger movements. Okay, Now, one of my favorite sweeps is longer than that. It's the full standard kind of 5-string 7-note sweep. It's 2 notes, 1, 1, 1, and 2 notes. All right, so here's my E. I'll go to an F here. It's my 6th of my scale. Hammer on. It's kind of like what we did 2 notes in 1 for a moment, but I actually use my ring finger with this because more of what I'm going to be doing is over here at the 7th position. So it's just only one place. I'm at the 8th position. Hammer on with the pinky. Downstroke. Now the ring finger and first finger do a little walk here. So it's 9, 7, 9, 7. And that's why I use the ring finger there. So hammer on, ring, index, and one note over here to turn around. Now I'm going to think where I am. Alright, so that's a lot of fun. I love doing that. Of course, you can do all the cool chromatic stuff with it too. Okay, I did the tapping already. Oh, I jumped ahead of myself there. Fantastic. Good, I don't have to do that. All right, now I'm going to do one little thing that's a little bit more unrelated to, well, not unrelated. It's very related, but this is very harmonic minor, okay? I've talked about this in at least one other, probably a couple of the different ShredMentor Live episodes before. But this is something I've sort of named the the diminished 7th framework. And this goes back to what we started with today with 2 notes per string, diminished 7th. But what we're going to do, again, we can't do this where 6 and 7 happen because there's actually no note in between them. This is where it kind of matters that the 6th and the raised 7th of harmonic minor are actually an augmented 2nd, not a 3rd. This is where it matters, in that there is no note in between them in the scale. So we don't want to use that area of the scale to do this. But we can use the modes where there is a note in between. So I like to do that between the, well, we have the raised 7 and the 2 on this string, and we have the 4 and the 6 on this string. Okay, and in both of those cases, the note every 2 strings is actually going to be at the same fret. Okay, or at least unless you're on the 2nd and 3rd string as your pair of strings. Anyway, it'll be at 17 in this case. So if I add the note in between them, so in this case, my middle finger will play it on the 1st string. Now, right now, it's just sort of like I'm playing the harmonic minor scales, descending from the 2nd of the scale. B, A, G sharp, or 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. And essentially I am, but I'm going to do that every 2 strings. So it's going to start at B, then F, then B, then F, then B, then F. All right, so anyway, yeah, that's the kind of thing you can do. Now I'm going to move it down instead of the G sharp being the lower of the 2 notes. I'm going to do where the D and the F that I was playing on the 2nd string are on the 1st string. All right, same way it works out here basically, except those notes are sort of going to form a power chord shape in relation to each other. Those filled in extra notes. So ring finger. It's still going to be alternating ring finger and then middle finger. It's basically just, yeah, it's very diminished 7th sounding, but it gives it that more harmonic minor tonality. And it's very harmonic minor. It's just very, this is where you really kind of get that Phrygian dominant kind of quality to it. so that is that. And I guess the last thing I can talk about here is just sliding. And this is where it gets a lot of fun because you can kind of start, you're getting out of different positions, and you can do a whole lot more with this kind of thing. So I love doing this, especially with, you know, it's like, again, what we did right at the very beginning. But also those three note per string skipping ones are right. So yeah, lots of cool stuff you can do with it. And then of course, once you have like your 3 note per string and the tapping thing too, you can move that around. Whatever, yeah. Getting a little noisy and messy here, but that, anyway, you get the idea. You can just moving things around. Everything's just 3 frets away from the next iteration of what you're doing. So there's so many cool alternative notes that you could use, and so you can lengthen it. So, you know, I could do like where I did. I have to do it from here because I'm not going to be able to have enough frets to do what I was about to do. But where I did the whole zigzag thing, right? Now I can lengthen the whole thing by moving my tapping note 3 frets higher. So I'll do it at 19 the first time, and then I'll do it 22 the second time, and that will actually lengthen the phrase itself to twice as long. So, and that'll be where I leave it because it's 9 o'clock and I gotta go. Anyway, so. Oops. Yeah, I'll finish that off with a bad note. I'm going to do it right. Hold on. Yeah, all right, that's how it goes. Yeah, something like that. A little better than the first time. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's a lot of different ways to play a diminished seventh, and I get this nagging feeling that I missed a couple, because I've kind of done this as a lesson a few times over the years. Yeah, can't remember what they are, but as I said, it's 9 o'clock and I kind of have to go anyway, so I need to stop making noise. Not that anyone can hear me. I mean, I'm in headphones, but I do have to stop making noise and go be a dad again. So that is it for this week, and thank you so much for joining me, guys. Thanks for the thumbs up. If you haven't done so and you're watching this on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up if you like this, and use this stuff in your music. Post it on Facebook in videos, in songs that you use it in. Tag me in that. I want to hear how this helps because I know it's useful. And I'm going to show you something real quick before we go. Okay, so here we are. Yeah, guitar practice tools. I got some new guitar practice tools. Let's show you some cool stuff. I'm thinking of this now, as much as I have to go. I've been adding some new stuff. So in the last couple days here, well, I guess in the last week, we got the killer chord changes thing. That was actually from several episodes back. And it's actually, I don't remember which one, but yeah, let's just open that. Well, let's attempt to open that. Yeah, cool. I don't know what's going on there. Click. Open, you bastard. It's doing it. It's doing it twice. All right, good. Okay, so there's that. In a moment. There we go. That was episode 42. So that was 11 episodes ago. Thought that felt like a while ago. All right, so that's that, right? And that's now added to the guitar practice tools. It's exactly the same interface. I haven't updated them to be longer. But anyway, we also talked about the metal chord progression generator. That was fun. And that's this here. Looking sweet now. It's got all the cool stuff going on here. So to me, I think this is, even though the chord progression templates aren't in there yet, you've got your natural minor, but harmonic minor in the second row. Oh yeah, and that's just, you know, that's just A minor. So all the 12 keys here, whatever, however you want to look at it. I'm not going to get all pedantic and say there's 15. I know some people like to say that. I'm not going to argue with you about it. Yeah, sure there are. I don't care. Just same 12 notes. simple. Let's keep things simple. So anyway, that's all that. But you also have your chromatic chord button player, and if you happen to have Guitar Practice Tools as a subscriber, which is only $10 a month, and you get the first month free if you did it, or if you're working with me and getting lessons, you just get this included automatically because I'm going to make sure you have the best tools. Anyway, if you have access to Guitar Practice Tools, then you also get all the beats, so you can try out your cool chord progressions right away. And that is, anyway, that's sort of what that became. That was a few episodes ago too. But let's go ahead and close those. And I want to show you this last thing. This is brand new. And I'll end off on a fun thing here. This is the newest one I've been working on the last couple days. I'm going to skip the My Stats thing because that's just nothing to see there right now. If you don't have an account with the on ShredMentorOnline.com as part of the Total Artist Development System, you just oh yeah, let's have that happen. Total Artist Development System. Join now if you want to make your own music with this, not just play. That's what this is all about. But yeah, let's not lose our train of thought now. We're already 5 minutes past when I said I had to go. But the Riffing Styles tool, this is the newest thing. This has sort of been in the works for, well, at least the last couple weeks. I have some students that sort of want to learn how to write riffs, but the thing is, a riff is a great art form. Let's not lie here, okay? It is really important to be able to do that. But sometimes a riff is just a damn power chord, and it's not the most interesting thing going on. So, like, let me give you an example here, right? Modern metal heavy chugging. This is literally just right? It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but it does the trigger. Here's one version of it. All right, I threw a little pinch harmonic at the end on that one. Right? Well, this is sort of a new tool that's meant to be two things. It's a study of riffs and everything that also happens at the same time as your guitar part, so that we can break out of this guitarist only, that's not my job problem that we often have, and start thinking about it like a songwriter. Because your riff also includes the beat and the bass line or whatever's going on, that whole moment in the song. Don't forget the rest of the experience, okay? So as a musician playing, this is also important to expand your definition of riff to be the beat too. And, so even if you don't play drums, that's not just somebody else's problem. Because what happens is, it becomes your problem, especially when you don't like what the beat is that the other person came up with and it's not fitting your vision. So, also, it's just, what if I take that same riff and give it a facelift? What if the drums did this? Right? Big difference. Here's the first one. Hear the kick drum? Let's hear that kick drum now. 16th note. 16th note triplets going on there, right? So let's take an even simpler riff. Just sustained power chords, but listen to the kick drum. Way more epic, isn't it? So tell me that's not a kick-ass riff. Well, let's make it even cooler. Let's add a lead melody. So that was already 4 guitars. Let's make it a 5th guitar. Right? These are just like recipes for a sound. And I've done a lot of the really extreme metal stuff recently, but I think this really gets the point across that, yeah, you can have really kick-ass riffs. Let's get back to, the fun of diminished sevenths. I've only done 19 of these, by the way, but I have dozens more on my list. But let's go into the very necrophagous kind of sound where it's like very technical and lots of diminished sevenths. Right? There's very much on point with what we're talking about tonight. Let's hear that one more time. Just crazy, right? Just all over the place. Sometimes that's what your riff needs to be. And what I've done is basically given you the recipe for how many instruments it takes in the recording to make a recorded perfect version of this idea. Or, your own version. Obviously, come up with your own damn, rhythm patterns and melodies and stuff. But this is the formula, recording-wise, for how this is constructed. So you can kind of stop fiddling about and just think of your chord progression, think of your melody, how you're going to make all that work. And when it's diminished sevenths, you don't have to think that hard about it. Like I said, you just have to get more rhythmic about it and construct your own thing, and then kind of work more on what the drum beat's going to be to help that along. So let's do that one more time. That's fun. Just insane. Love it. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's the newest guitar practice tool. So you can get all of that and much more at guitarpracticetools.com. And I imagine this is the part of the show where everyone's already gone, but don't be gone. Be here. Check this out. Anyway, that is it for this week. I will be back again next week as long as everything goes well on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. almost all the time. And we've got another group session, coaching session for Total Artist Development System coming tomorrow night at 8 as well. So if you are already enrolled, I'll see you then. Otherwise, I will see you next week. And thank you very, very much for joining me. I hope that this stuff turns out to be a lot of use and fun for you. So rock on.